there's a new there are new apps that are out. Well, semi new apps, right? So this part of it is also like a news segment. We're gonna share with you in terms of these new apps that are out there to help and prevent sexual assault. Okay, so these apps. Okay, so I'm just gonna run through them, just for your information. What's out there? Singapore is a very safe place, but it's still, you never know, right? Things can change around here. So this first app is called On Watch on Campus, and basically what happens is you activate the app, and you give yourself a certain amount of time to go home, right? And if you don't make it home within that certain amount of time, this app will will let all the people that you want to know that the alarm goes off, basically. So basically they can act upon it. All right. So that's On Watch on Campus. There's another one called Be Safe, and this one is a siren that triggers. Let's see now. And it will record. The minute you turn this on, it will record video, audio, and the siren will also go off. And I think it was supposedly scares people away. Someone who's trying to, and it also locks in your location and everything. So basically, yeah, the police can come to help you out. So that's very good. And then there's Circle of Six, which is another thing where what happens here. It says that with 4 buttons, you can tap the car icon, and you can request for a ride home from your contacts in this app. And then the second last one is Lifeline Response. And this one is, so if you're walking home, you just have to hold your thumb onto the button, and the minute you release your thumb, it will trigger a phone alarm system and a siren that can be heard up to 2 miles away. And then it has GPS tracking as well. So all these apps are help you with that. And then the last one is an app with support groups and counselors and hotlines and things like that. So basically that's the roundup. What do you think of this technology so far? Do you think it's necessary in the States and everything, but do you think it's necessary, say, in Singapore or Malaysia, which is Malaysia's a lot more dangerous, right?
Yeah,
is that
Malaysia
wrong
is an incredibly dangerous place at the moment due to our multiple problems with our government and race-based politics and
Wow.
economic woes as well. With the ringgit crashing, crime rates, of course, are going to soar even higher than they already have. I think that for sexual assault, it's really good to have these things. The one thing that is going to be slightly problematic with their existence, so not really a problem, but it's kind of like the app's existence point to a larger problem.
Right.
And the larger problem is that what we do is we take women's safety and we place it in their hands, as in we say, you are responsible for not being raped.
Right.
Yeah, so things like people,
So whatever you wear, you're responsible for that.
Yeah, things like what people going like, okay, what were you wearing? Were you being encouraging when you were assaulted or whatever?
And that's complete responsibility. Is that what people are doing?
It's sort of a programmed thing in society at the moment.
Oh, I see. It's just an understanding that
it's a mentality. So, like, while these things are very good, I think that it's much more important to be spending our time educating men as well on how they're not essentially entitled to women's bodies. Of course, not all men think this way,
Right.
but if we really could make that into a thing, it's your responsibility not to rape a woman just
Right.
because they're wearing a skimpy outfit.
Right.
Then
So we're
these
targeting at
things
these
would
men
be-
who are the basically
or
the
any
per-
any men really.
men, okay.
It's
just a view, and they may not act
Yeah,
upon it,
it's-
but there's the view is still there.
it's to kind of change this mentality for how people think of men and how people think of women and where their responsibilities lie with regards to sexual assault.
Right.
And so I think that, but there's people who get really angry about these things, or things like there was a nail polish last time that could change color based on whether your drink had been roofied or something like that. Like there was this
you just
interesting chemical.
Dip it in the drink so you can
Something like
tell.
that,
Yes, I
yes,
think
it
I
was
read
so-
something about.
So
Not that I wear nail
people got
polish.
into an uproar about that because here's this great thing, but you're also again saying, okay, women, now if you didn't wear the nail polish, or if you didn't if you didn't put your finger on the app, then you kind of deserved it because you weren't taking
Right.
5 million
It's
steps
horrible.
it is horrible.
Right.
It's hard being a girl.
And what are you aware of in terms of what the government or the governments around the world, what are they doing? Are they being supportive about this?
I think that I think you can see from a lot of news with American campuses that there's still very much, there are some campuses and some governments that are pretty good about these things, but victim blaming is still quite prevalent and quite horrible. I mean, we won't even talk about Malaysia.
Right.
There's no, I mean, I think that
There's
that if I was raped in Malaysia, it would not go like I would have next to no
Fight back.
yeah
Right.
avenues in which to do that.
Wow. Okay.
So while people get into uproars about these things, they're still good to have while we wait for the bigger changes to happen.
Right.
Mm.
So if you came into my room here for an interview in this bedroom and it's just like it's your own fault for coming in,
For
it's like,
going
who
and
asked
being
you?
alone with a man sometimes, and it can be that extreme.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So would you say that in general the statistics have dropped in terms of sexual assault or even perception of women? Has it changed?
There's definitely a movement towards change. Like for some reason, feminism at the moment has really, really good PR.
Yeah.
Like conspiracy theory could be like, okay, Hillary Clinton's running for president, and so, but whatever, or like some of the energy spiritual type people believe that the world is changing to become more feminine,
feminine.
which I think would be a good thing. So whatever it is, I think that feminism and feminism for men especially is kind of on the rise right now, which hopefully will translate to better numbers. But with climate change and the world in the state that it is, global recession and all those things, it's hard to say when all these changes will come.
Yeah.
Because I think the world is very scared right now,
Yeah.
right? So when people are scared and resources are scarce, you
It's
get
true.
nasty things.
Yeah. All right. And so the other thing is, let's get a bit controversial now. So there's this. I mean, people say, right? Men say that there's well, all this is happening, but yet women. There are groups of women that play that while they play the stereotype sometimes. They also. They push for equality, but yet sometimes they play the stereotype.
They
But then-
benefit from the privilege while trying to
Yeah.
take the privilege away in a sense.
Yeah. So what do you think of that? Well, like, how do you is that happening a lot? Do you find?
Well, I don't know.
And
It's-
should women stop doing that if they want to push for,
More equality?
More equality.
Yeah, I think that we can all try to be as conscious as we can of our little practices in our everyday lives, but it's very hard, of course, to be 100% word perfect on whatever you're trying to do. And there's a lot of within feminism, so there's actually quite a lot of nasty backbiting, which is counterproductive.
Right.
Yeah, you
Like
know,
what?
some people think that feminists shouldn't wear makeup, for example,
Oh.
because you're feeding into objectifying yourself, and
Right.
so and then you're letting the
Interesting.
side down. Or there's those people who are like, okay, if you're a feminist, means you should go and be like really skanky because you need to believe in your sexual freedom and you need to own it. And then
Right.
there's other
It gets
people
very
who go, and then again, you're just objectifying yourself and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
it's really like
Wow.
it's a
Where
complex
do you-
place.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think just like if we can, we should just work on being more compassionate human beings.
It's just in general,
like
like
just first and foremost, which seems to be quite a lot harder than it would appear on paper.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing. So where do you anyway? Just curious, where do you lie on the makeup thing? I mean,
It's I don't like wearing makeup,
Mm-hmm.
but that's because I'm personally like it's bad for your skin and it's expensive and
but nothing to do with like, oh, I just don't want to objectify myself.
well, not to say not objectifying myself, but it is partly that, like,
But there's always two sides to it, right? It's like one is like you enjoy the art of it, you enjoy looking good.
Yeah.
How is that objectifying yourself? But
Yeah.
then there's the other argument where we're like, of course you're objectifying yourself. Well, who asked? Like so.
Exactly.
So I think I don't know. I just think is there just like no right or wrong? It just depends on how you look at it. And
Pretty
basically-
much.
Basically, it's about feminism is just about it's just another fight for a general look world. You
Level
got to
of-
look at it with
Yeah.
with the right perspective,
And
right?
be good
There are
to
always,
each other.
you can always do something, but it could always be done, or could always seem to be the wrong thing, but really it's just perception, right?
I have, as you probably know, like, 'cause I've got quite a lot of baggage about dressing up and looking presentable, like, and all. Like, this is quite, like, this is the
Scarf always
result
makes it.
of a long and difficult journey. And
Really?
yeah, because like, I mean, I went around in shorts and a t-shirt like everywhere all the time, like dinky slippers and I was adamant about it too. And
Right.
and at that time there was a lot of like, look, just because I'm a girl, why does that mean that I have to spend more money on makeup, spend more time looking present, like, you know, have more people giving me rubbish about why, like, because I really feel that when you're a woman, people just expect you to meet a beauty standard more just as a matter of fact. And I was like, that's
Interesting.
nonsense. I want to spend my time reading books and, like, you know, coloring or whatever instead of this. And then, but that led to another side where I would judge myself for wanting to dress up, and then I, you know, and then I can't and whatever. So it's been a process of like going
Right.
like, okay lah, if I want to, then I want to, then I will do it, and I won't feel
think-
weird.
Yeah, I think you should just. I think labels should just. You know, labels are there. Good. It's good to try and make sense of the world, but at the same time, you should just go out the window.
Yeah.
I mean, in the same way, wouldn't you say men also probably would have issues where it's not just men. It's just people in general, women and men look to men in the same way. I mean, is there a
Yes.
term for what is it called? Menism? No. Somehow-
hang on, misandry.
Is it? Is that a word?
That's the opposite of misogyny. That's why you
Right.
hate men.
Ah, okay. So it's like, why must I always hold the door open, or why must I always
Yeah.
take the girl home?
No, exactly.
You know, like
And-
why must I always be the one to kill the cockroach in the corner?
Or
What if I
why
hate
do
the
I have to
cockroach?
be the one who doesn't show my emotions?
Right,
Or
exactly.
get
So
to
it's-
dress
it's
up
just-
or any of those things.
Yeah.
You know? So it's quite. I think that sexism and being confined to the gender role, no matter what your gender, is harmful to you, because
Yeah.
you get less of a full human experience if you.
Yeah. Yeah. And ultimately, I think we're all fighting the same fight. I mean, you can call it feminism, but I don't know. I see it. I mean, of course, there are
Yes.
detailed, specific things to do with being a female, but at the same time, it's the same fight. I know Aware, which is the organization here in Singapore.
Yes.
You know, the things that they fight for, sometimes it overlaps into men as well, and you know, so that actually, I don't know. It's to me,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
all part of
part
it.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Hopefully, we get there, lah. Maybe in our lifetimes.
Hopefully. Yeah.